Oh man, woo! What is going on, y'all? It is getting cold out here. You know what I don't like? I don't mind the rain. I actually don't mind the rain. But one thing I hate is cold rain. When the rain is freezing cold, that's what we got right now. We got freezing cold rain. Oh, I hope y'all doing okay out there. It is your boy 1PTA. Another day, another day with the Hall of Famers of America, with the legends of America. That's what I got to do today. I hung out with them. What did you do today? I hope you're having a good day. Today's topic is bad habits to have as you get older. Bad habits to have. When I say that, I mean habits that I see that people have had, and as they age, when they start getting up in age, they still try to hold on to these habits, and these habits become detrimental to them, detrimental to their health, and detrimental to them. Whoo, man. Oh, yo, I had a 97-year-old lady today. That's my girl. When you're in a nursing home for a long period of time, like when you're there long term, you live there, what happens is, as therapists, when you have a therapy staff, when you have therapy in the nursing home, therapy has to periodically pick you up for therapy. Meaning, we'll pick you up for a few months, get you nice and strong, and then when you're doing great, we'll discharge you so you can go ahead and flourish in the nursing home. You can go ahead and live your life, enjoy yourself, do what you want to do. But a lot of times what happens is a person starts to get a little sedentary, a little comfortable in the recliner or comfortable in the bed, and then the strength goes down. So we pick them up, we get them strong, they go back to, normal living, but they get a little weak. So what happens is we pick them up again a few months down the road. So I had this 97-year-old lady. She's been going through this cycle for a while. You're 97. I think she's had a fall in the place, and she's been going through the cycle of being picked up and discharged and picked up and discharged. It's my girl. She's really cool. She jokingly said this. She was laughing when she said this. I swear she was. 97 years old. She's like, "Why don't y'all just leave me alone?" I about died laughing, man. Why do y'all keep doing this to me? Because we had to pick her up again to be seen, because she's getting a little weak. So therapy comes in, boom, boom. We're here to save the day and get you stronger again and just repeat the cycle. "Why don't y'all leave me alone? Don't you know I'm 97? She said it. She was laughing when she said it, but it was so funny the way she said it. Me and her, we laughed for about a good 3 minutes because I know what she means, and she knows why I'm there. She knows why we got to pick her up again. She knows that she needs to be on therapy again, but she's like, "Why don't y'all just leave me alone?" Oh, that was my funny moment of the day. I had a pilot today, y'all. I work with a few pilots, but I had a pilot today who told me some interesting stuff about piloting. If I'm saying it right, piloting. He told me, "I always worry about bird strikes. Y'all fly a lot? If you fly a lot, do you ever think about bird strikes?" You know what that is? That's when you take off and there's birds nearby, and a flock of them will fly and get sucked up into the engine. Boom, the engine blows up and the plane crashes. I worry about that a lot. And since I can never see what's straight ahead and see what's coming, I can never see where the birds are. But I always, in the back of my mind, I think about bird strikes. You know what I do whenever I take off? This is funny. Whenever I take off from a plane, I listen to Staying Alive in my earbuds right before takeoff. You should do this when you ready to take off. If you get nervous on takeoff, I love flying, I love traveling, but I do get nervous on takeoffs. And I always play Staying Alive. Staying alive, staying alive. I play that in my earbuds before I take off. That way I'm in a good mood, because that song gets you pumped. That song, it makes you feel good, it gets you pumped, and it's telling you you're going to stay alive. So while we taking off, we staying alive. Oh, man. But he told me that bird strikes ain't that bad. He said when you get a bird strike in the plane, and he's got one, he said what happens is if you had two engines, the engine might go out, but a plane can fly on one engine. Okay? So he said it happened to him at O'Hara Airport, and he said everything was cool. He said the plane will start shaking a little bit because you lose power in an engine. He said he didn't lose full power, but he lost most power in one engine, and the plane was shaking. And you feel it in the back, though. If you do get a bird strike while you're going to plane, it's going to be scary. You're going to feel it. But the pilots got everything under control, people. They got it covered. He said that all he had to do was direct power, from the little bit of power. He had to direct that from the engine that was damaged, I believe. I don't know. Some kind of way, he said it's not that bad. And all he had to do was just call the control tower and tell them that he had a bird strike and he needs somewhere to land. And he said they told him to just circle around and land back right at O'Hara Airport. And everything was fine. So he said, don't worry about bird strikes. You'll be okay. So if you're on a plane and you hit a bird, you'll be just fine. Whew. He was a cool guy. Airplane pilot, 37 years. All right. Bad habits. Of course, there's some just off the top, what the bad stuff is that you shouldn't do as you get older, or anybody shouldn't do. Drugs, smoking, drinking too much. Let's just get those out the way, okay? Because I don't think we need to go into detail of why they are bad. They're terrible. So if you're doing it, please work on stopping it. Smoking, it's a bad habit. Bad habit. I think they should do, you know what I think they should do? And shout out to the person who told me I ramble too much. I actually like rambling, sir. That's why I started this channel, so I can ramble. I want to get in my car, and I always got like a 45 to 50-minute ride home. I want to ramble. Is that okay with you? I like rambling. All right? But anyway, what was I talking about? My bad, I'm rambling. Smoking. You know what I think they should do? Do you remember in high school? I don't know where you went to high school at. I don't know where you went to school at. I went to school in Baltimore City Public Schooling. That's where we went. And we had this program called Scared Straight. You might know what it is. You know what Scared Straight is? That's when you take the troublemakers in high school. I don't know if it was just troublemakers. I don't know. You took the troubled kids, the kids who were getting in trouble in high school. You have a little class trip. You set them off on a little class trip, and they take a class trip to the jail. And at the jail, you get those kids to be confronted or talk to people who have been in prison for doing very, very, very bad things. Very bad things. And the idea behind the trip is to scare you into not being a bad kid. You feel me? I don't know if it worked. I didn't go. I never went. I was like a class clown, but I wasn't that bad. I wasn't bad. I used to do some crazy stuff, but I wasn't that bad. But I don't know if it worked. I wonder if there's some studies that show that Scared Straight actually worked. If the kids who went to Scared Straight back in the 90s went to the jail and got Scared Straight, how are they now? Are they good human beings now? Are they upstanding citizens? I would like to know. But I say that to say, I believe we should do another form of Scared Straight. I believe that the people who are on drugs and alcohol and all kinds of substances should take a trip to a nursing home. Now, of course, you got to get consent from the nursing home and the patients who are going to share their stories, because you would be surprised. You would be surprised how many patients would sign up to share their stories with younger people about doing drugs, about smoking, about how it's affected them, about what it's done for them, drinking, alcoholics. Oh, you'd be surprised. I think we should have another form of Scared Straight that did that. And it don't have to be a nursing home. It could be like a behavioral center, but I don't know about a behavioral center. Maybe a nursing home. People who have smoked and have trachs in their lungs, who have tubes in their lungs that help them breathe and talk, and have on oxygen, And I believe that they would tell the people who visit them, don't smoke, don't do drugs, don't drink alcohol. It can ruin your life, ruin your family. It can ruin everything. So let's get that out the way. Now with that said, I got a list. I actually wrote something down for a video this time. I actually got a little list of bad habits to have as you get older. So we got the basics out the way. Those are the basic ones. You should all know these. All know those. Those are the basics. I actually got a little list. Let's start with gambling. Let's start with gambling. I have met some gamblers in my time. I have met some gamblers. And when I say met some gamblers, I'm talking about old heads who gamble, who is their hobby to gamble, who they love gambling. Let me just tell you, gambling, like if you don't know about gambling, I heard another person mention this and discussing gambling. Gambling is a losing game. Did you hear what I said? Gambling is a losing game. Okay? I have met gamblers who, when I say lost everything, let me just tell you one. I walked in a guy's room. This was maybe 6 years ago. Never forget this story. I walked in the guy's room and he had it looked like business cards, but they were religious cards, like religious business cards. And they would have a scripture on them and they would invite you to his church. He was handing them out to everybody that worked in the nursing home, giving them to the nurses, the CNAs, giving them to the dining room people working in the dining room, the cleaning people, maintenance. He would give them to everybody he came across, and he gave one to me when I worked with him in therapy. He had really, really changed his life, and he found God, and he was all into church and all into being religious. But he had reached this point because he completely ruined his life through gambling. He was actually a successful business owner, real estate man. He was telling me his whole story. I tell y'all, these people will pour their hearts out and tell you their whole stories simply because they don't get the chance to talk to many people, because as you get older, typically you don't hang around a lot of people. You don't have a big vibrant social life anymore. So he's telling me everything about how he used to have maybe 7 houses. He's a real estate guy. He has 7 investment properties, had a nice business, and he constantly wanted to gamble. Could not stop gambling. Gambled it all away. Gambled all of it away. Lost everything. I don't even need to go into detail about how he did it. He said he lost everything. I don't even know what kind of gambling. I can't remember what kind of gambling he did. If he was hanging out at casinos, because I live in the state of Delaware, where we have some very, very popular casinos. So gambling is very, very prevalent in the state of Delaware. But he gambled everything away. And he said that was the worst thing in his life, his gambling addiction. So I say all that to say, if gambling is a hobby of yours, if you think, just hanging out at the slot machines, if that's a thing that you do, I done seen it ruin some lives. I done seen it bankrupt some people as they got older, when they probably need those funds to focus on their health. And everybody, a lot of people think that they're going to hit. As soon as I hit, when I hit, I'm going to be done. You feel me? When I hit, I'm done. But that's not the case. Because if you hit, it's going to make you want to do it again. It's going to make you want to hit again. You feel what I'm saying? So, gambling, very, very bad hobby to have as you get older. I've seen some cases where, divorce, loss of children, relationships with your children. So in my observation of working with the legends of America, that's a very, very, very bad habit to have. What is next? If you are a collector, if you like to collect stuff, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But as you get older, now mind you, I'm talking about older. As you get older, the collecting of stuff becomes problematic to you. I had a patient not too long ago. He told me that he used the phrase, anything you own becomes, he told me never to forget it too. Like, he was serious. He was a trailer park manager. He managed a trailer park. And he had this phrase that anything you own eventually becomes a noose around your neck. Did you hear what I said? That's what he said. Anything you own eventually becomes a noose around your neck. So be careful. Those was his advice to me. He said anything you own becomes a noose around your neck, because he said he managed the trailer park, and the trailer park became like a headache. He said it became like a headache, something that he wished he never got into. So if you like to collect stuff, I don't care what it is. You like to collect trains, stamps, coins, cars, shoes, and I got to give you full disclosure. This is coming from a man who used to collect stuff. Me, right here. I used to collect stuff. Let me tell you what I collected. I collected watches, I collected sneakers, and I started a small car collection. I only got up to 3 cars, but I started a small car collection. Do you know how much of a headache all that stuff was? All of it. I look back, now that I've changed that part of myself. Let's start with watches. I was a collector of watches. I like nice watches. I was hooked on this brand called Invicta. They make big dive watches. I was buying them every time I got paid. Okay? Now, do you know what happens with watches? Batteries die. Batteries die in watches. Did you know that? They die in watches. Do you know how frustrating it is when you got about 30-something watches and you pick up a watch to wear one day and the battery, you wear it all day, you leave out the house with it, don't even check to see if it's working, and the battery is dead? Do you know how frustrating that is when you got so many watches that you can't get around to wearing them all because you start to wear your favorites, and then the ones you don't wear just sit? And then when you go to change the battery because it's dead, you open up the back and the battery has corroded the whole watch. Like, it's just eating up the whole watch, and now the whole watch is trash. I even had a few automatic watches. Automatics are the one that don't need battery, that you can just, they move with the movement of your wrist. But do you know you got to buy watch winders for them? That means that's little things that the watch winds around in it while it's sitting in it. So you got to buy extra stuff for the watches. Don't even get me started on daylight savings time. When you got 30-something watches, daylight savings time is annoying because you got to change every watch. Now let's go to my sneaker collection. I was a sneakerhead. There's a lot of sneakerheads out there. Shout out to the sneakerheads. I get it. I was there. But do you know how frustrating it is to try to find places for 109 pairs of shoes? I say 109 pairs of shoes because that's the most I've ever gotten up to. That was the cutoff point for me when I realized that sneaker collecting is a dumb hobby. For me. Not hating on any of you sneakerheads. Okay? It's a dumb hobby for me. Also, I said this in another video. I talked to a podiatrist, a foot doctor, who said that sneaker collecting and shoe collecting is not good for your feet. Because when you walk, your feet get used to a foundation. And if you're constantly changing that foundation, constantly switching shoes, it's not beneficial for your feet and for your body. So I said, that makes sense. So he said it's not good to be a sneaker collector. You run out of space, you're wasting money, you're putting money towards somebody else's dream. I used to collect all the basketball players' shoes. I used to want the new KDs and the new Kyries and the new James Hardens and the new LeBrons. And I'm actually keeping up with this stuff and thinking I'm doing something. And I'm not doing nothing. I'm just contributing to their, on top of their multi-million-dollar salaries they already got. Do you feel what I'm saying? Bad hobby to have. And cars. Another bad hobby of mine collecting cars. I got up to 3. I wanted another one. I had the work mobile, the family mobile, and the weekender. Okay, a little sports car, a little Nissan 370Z. Well, did you know? I don't know if you're a car collector. I don't know how many cars you have. But did you know that cars don't like to sit? You feel me? Cars don't like to sit. What do I mean by that? I mean, if you got your little baby sitting in the garage, your baby does not like to sit in the garage. Cars like and need to be driven. So if I'm taking my little work mobile all week back and forth to work, while my little weekender is just sitting waiting for the weekend, do you know more things can go wrong with it just sitting there? Because it's not getting that repetition, not getting that fluid going through it, not getting that engine started, not getting that rev that it needs. Yes, so I ended up having problems by letting my car sit. Not to mention registration time. Oh, inspection time for 3 vehicles. Oh my goodness, I don't see how you car people do it. You got to keep track of all these registrations. You got to keep track of all these inspections. You got to go down to the DMV for 3 different vehicles. You got to insure 3 different vehicles. Oh, I did it for like 5 years until I said, you know what, this is stupid. Let me get rid of some of these cars. So now I'm down to 1 car. All I drive is the workmobile. The workmobile is the weekender. The workmobile is the family mobile. And the workmobile is the workmobile. So I say all that to say, having a hobby of collecting stuff is not good. And I've talked to a lot of collectors, man. Later on in life, you got to give it all up. You got to give it all up. I had a stamp guy. Just had a stamp guy is mad at his grandson because his grandson doesn't want his stamps. Did you hear what I just said? He's mad at his own grandson because the grandson is not really into that, but he wants to pass it on to him. And he's mad at the grandson that he doesn't understand the value of these precious stamps. So it's not good to have a hobby of collecting things because later on, like my man said, it becomes a noose around your neck. A lot of times people don't want it. I haven't seen anybody. I mean, sure, I've met some guys who are into like the model trains and stuff, and that's usually in the house. It's usually in the basement or upstairs, and they can't get to it anymore. So the hobby, it becomes harder to continue with that hobby when you can't, physically manage it. So hobbies that have become harder to manage are probably hobbies that aren't good for you. I had a couple RV guys. I had a few RV guys. Love RVing and camping, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But as you get older, you might want to think twice about that RV. You might want to think twice about that camper because it becomes harder to manage, or you can even say that boat. I've had a few boat guys. They all say harder to manage and maintain as they got older. So I'm not saying don't enjoy your RV and your camping. I'm not saying that. Maybe rent. I don't know. I think that's probably what I would do if I wanted that experience. Maybe do some renting. Maybe find a friend with an RV or a boat. But these are hobbies that become harder as you get older. So that's all. I'm not telling you not to enjoy these hobbies. I'm just telling you that they become difficult as you get older. What is another one? Oh, for the ladies. I don't know if anybody sees this as a hobby. I don't know if y'all do this as a hobby, but altering your body. Now, there's people that talk about the effects of like BBLs and lip injections and stuff on the older generation. We are starting to see it in healthcare. We are starting to see it. It is not good, the long-term effects of that stuff. I don't even know if I want to go into detail on this. Let's just say altering your natural body from its natural state I think that's a bad hobby to have if that's a hobby. You know, if you get a little work done, a little something done, and you're done, that's one thing. But if you have a hobby of changing things, if you have a hobby of sun tanning, that's another one. Ooh, sun tanning, altering your body. You want your body to be darker, so you want to sit out in the sun. Lip injections, fake breasts, fake anything. The long-term effects of that are not good. There's one thing I've seen that was cool. I've seen a few tattooed eyebrows. Those are interesting. I had a 80-something-year-old. Eyebrows look perfect. And I kept looking. I'm working with her. She was Asian. I kept looking at her, and I wanted to ask, but I didn't want to ask. And I just kept looking while I'm working with her. I'm like, So something told me just to ask. And I asked her, and she was like, yeah. She got them done back when, I don't know, maybe she was in her 50s, because her natural eyebrows didn't grow very thick. So she wanted some eyebrows. They look pretty good. So don't alter your body too much. Maybe a little work if you want to get it done. It's up to you. But if that becomes a hobby, that's not beneficial, because the long-term effects of it are not good. So a lot of that stuff does not look good when you get older. And it's not good for your health as you get older. So that was another one. Okay, what is another one? This one is, I have a beloved family member who this is a hobby. For them, this is a hobby. A beloved family member. And that is shopping. We talked about collecting stuff, that's one thing. But shopping. If shopping is your hobby, meaning that's a pastime of yours, you like to go out and go shopping, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I am saying that when you get to those later years, and that's still a thing you like to do, it's going to become problematic. I've seen it become problematic. It's become problematic for my loved one. It's become problematic for a lot of my patients. And I say that because constantly, shopping is made easier for you to do. Okay? You know you can order something and get it on your phone. You can order something on your phone and get it in a day or two. You know that. So it's becoming more convenient. And the corporations know they want to make shopping convenient for you. You don't have to go to no mall. You ain't got to go to no department store. You can just push a button and boom, boom, at your doorstep pretty soon. So when you have that as a hobby, that's something that you can't stop. Like, you can't stop. Even if you can afford it, you can't stop. And if you can afford it, I feel like that's even worse, because you're just constantly buying. My beloved family member, she buys things and does not even give herself time to enjoy the thing that she bought. But because it's a hobby of hers, she has to continue to buy things. You feel what I'm saying? And it's become problematic for the family. Not just for her, but for the family in dealing with this hobby. But it's something that she said she's going to buy what she wants. I've seen in my time, man, shopping become a detriment to a lot of people as they get older. When you get older, you're causing problems for yourself. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. You got to understand, shop for necessity. When you get older, I believe in shopping for necessity. And yes, something nice once in a while is good. And I'm not telling you not to have nothing. But if that's a hobby, if that's something that you have to reoccurrently do, even when you don't need anything, just because you like doing it, trust me, you're making problems for yourself and you're making problems for other people. Because when you get older, it's not going to be you that's going to manage the stuff. It's not going to be you that's going to manage the stuff. So you're creating tasks and work for other people. That's what you're doing. You think you got it all under control. You think you do. But reality is It's just work for somebody else. And I've had to deal with it multiple times with my loved one. So keep that in mind, y'all. If shopping is a hobby, you might think of finding a new hobby. This video is about hobbies that are probably not a good idea as you get into the later years of life. I'm also going to do a video of hobbies that are good for you to do later on in life. That might be more beneficial for you later on in life. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm going to give you both sides, and these are just observations that I've made. Just observations that I made about hobbies. Eating, that's another one. I do not need to go into detail of why that's a bad hobby. I really don't, because we see the effects of it every single day in America. Why eating is a bad hobby. But when you get in the later stages of life, it's a really bad hobby. A really bad hobby. And who doesn't love food? We all love food. Everybody's a foodie. I don't even know what that word means. Like, who isn't a foodie? Who doesn't like food? We all foodies. But when it's a hobby for you, when you just constantly can't stop eating, and I know a lot of people deal with, eating disorders, but it's something to think about in the later stages of life. All right, y'all. So, like I said, these are just some of the hobbies. These are just some. There's plenty more. But these are just some of the hobbies that I see with the older generation that typically become problematic for them later on in life. Typically become a hard hobby to maintain. And I say all this because these hobbies are things that you're going to love to do, and you're going to want to do them as you get older. And you're not going to want to hear nobody tell you, you can't do what you love to do. But if you can think about it now, maybe, I probably shouldn't keep on with this hobby. I probably shouldn't, I probably should switch it up, maybe get into something else, because this might be a problem for me later on. It's helped me change some of my habits. Like I said, with my hobbies and collecting stuff, definitely helped me with that. So, yeah, y'all, just a little advice, man. Just some wisdom coming from the older generation that I noticed myself. But the next video, what I'm going to do, talked about some bad hobbies to have, so there's got to be a flip side, right? Next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about good hobbies to have as you get older, because there's a lot of them, and there's a lot more bad hobbies. But there's a lot of good hobbies that you can have as you get older. I personally fell in love with one myself. I've switched up my hobbies based off working with the older generation because, like I said, they show me the way. They show me that there's certain things not even worth it. But then there's certain things are well worth it. And I'm going to share that with you in the next video. So stay tuned, y'all. Hope y'all are doing good. As always, man, remember, respect your elders, man. Respect the Hall of Famers of America. Be safe. Be good to each other. And I'm going to holler at you in the next video. All right.